always believed that some friendships are unbreakable. That once you find that one person who understands you better than you understand yourself, you never lose them. For me, that person was Alina. We met in college. From the very first day, it felt like fate had introduced us. She was everything I wasn't. Confident, spontaneous, a little wild, but she made life exciting. We would skip classes, share food, and talk until sunrise. People used to call us the twins, even though we looked nothing alike. Alina had this habit of saying, "I'll never let anyone hurt you." I believed her. Years passed, and our bond only grew stronger. We graduated, found jobs in the same city, and even rented apartments just a few streets apart. Life was hectic, but we always made time for our little coffee dates. Then came Ryan. He joined our company as a new marketing head, and from the moment I met him, something clicked. He was kind, funny, and had that calm confidence that made everyone feel seen. Alina noticed it before I even said a word. She smirked and whispered one day, "Someone's blushing. Should I set it up for you?" I laughed it off, but deep down I wanted that. Weeks later, Ryan asked me out. Our first date felt like a dream. Simple, genuine, perfect. When I told Alina about it, she screamed like a child. Finally, my girl found her person. Everything felt right. But slowly, things began to change. First, it was small things. Ryan would sometimes cancel plans, saying he had to work late. But later, I'd see Alina post a story from the office, both of them laughing over coffee. I brushed it off. They worked on the same team. Made sense. Then came the subtle shifts. Alina stopped answering my calls as often, and when we did meet, she'd tease me in ways that didn't feel playful anymore. "You're so sensitive now, Mira," she'd say. "You used to be chill before you started dating." I laughed it off again. She was my best friend. She couldn't mean harm. But I couldn't ignore how Ryan started acting distant too. The good morning texts stopped. The long conversations faded. And when I tried to talk about it, he'd change the topic. It was like I was losing both of them, my love and my best friend, without understanding why. One evening, I decided to surprise Ryan with dinner. I cooked his favorite meal, packed it carefully, and drove to his apartment. I didn't tell him I was coming. I just wanted to make him smile like before. But the moment I reached his building, something strange happened. His car wasn't in the parking spot. Yet the lights in his apartment were on. Called him, no answer. Texted, no reply. As I stood there, holding the bag of food, my phone buzzed. It was Alina. "Hey, where are you?" I hesitated, then said, "Just running an errand." "You?" She laughed softly. "Oh, just out with Ryan. He said he wasn't feeling well, so I brought him soup." My heart froze. I glanced up at Ryan's apartment window. The curtains moved slightly. A shadow passed by. The world suddenly felt quiet. Too quiet. I forced a smile into the phone. "Oh, that's nice of you," I said, pretending not to care. But when I ended the call, my hands were shaking. I left the food on his doorstep, along with a small note that said, "Hope you feel better soon." Then I walked away. My heart felt heavy, but my mind refused to believe what it was suggesting. Well, Alina would never do that to me. She couldn't. Days went by, and things only got stranger. Ryan stopped talking altogether. Alina acted perfect. Too perfect. She'd message me every morning, always cheerful, always checking in. But she never mentioned Ryan again. Then one night, while scrolling through Instagram, I saw something that made my stomach twist. A new story, Alina's. A video of a dinner table. Wine glasses. Candle, 2 plates, and a man's voice in the background saying, "You always know how to make me feel better." A voice. It was Ryan's. I froze, my breath caught somewhere between disbelief and pain. I replayed the story over and over, convincing myself it was someone else. But then I noticed something. On the table right next to the candle was a wristwatch. The same one I had gifted Ryan on our 3-month anniversary. My vision blurred. My heart pounded so loud I could hear it echoing in my ears. And in that moment, it all made sense. The lies, the distance, the laughter I wasn't part of anymore. They were together, behind my back. But I didn't cry that night. Not even once. I just sat there staring at the screen and whispered to myself, so this is what betrayal feels like. And somewhere inside me, something changed. It wasn't sadness anymore. It was clarity. A strange, calm realization that maybe I had been blind for too long. But I wasn't going to confront them, not yet. I wanted the truth to reveal itself, not through anger, but through their own choices. Because when people betray you, they think you'll break. But sometimes, you become silent enough to let them destroy themselves. And I decided that night. I would wait. I would watch. And when the time was right, I would make them see what they lost. Not through revenge. Through regret. The next morning, Alina called like nothing had happened. "Hey, sleepyhead. Coffee later," she chirped. Her voice was bright, cheerful. The same voice that used to comfort me during my darkest days. Now it felt sharp, cold, pretend. I forced a smile she couldn't see. "Sure, same place. Of course. Don't be late," she giggled and hung up. I stared at my phone for a long minute, the image of her dinner with Ryan still burning in my mind. But I wasn't going to cry anymore. Not for her. Not for him. If they wanted to play innocent, I'd let them. But I wasn't the same naive Mira anymore. That day, I decided to find the truth. Not by accusing them, but by watching them carefully. Because people who lie always leave cracks. And Alina, no matter how smart she was, would too. At the cafe, she was already there, sipping her caramel latte, the one she used to share with me. When she saw me, her eyes lit up like nothing was wrong. "Finally. You're glowing today," she said, pretending to fix a strand of my hair. I smiled faintly. "Maybe peace looks good on me." She laughed, but her eyes flickered for a second. A flash of confusion. But let her wonder. We talked about random things, work, trends, gossip. But every few minutes, she mentioned Ryan casually. "Oh, Ryan said that project was such a mess. Ryan's been working late again, poor guy. Ryan's really stressed these days." Each mention was a stab I didn't flinch from. Because pain feels different when you expect it. Then she asked, almost too casually, "So, how are you and him? Haven't seen you guys together much lately." I met her gaze. "We've both been busy," I said softly, stirring my coffee. "But you probably know that better than me." Her hand froze midair. Just for a second. Then she smiled again. "What do you mean?" "Nothing," I said. "Just that you work with him, so you must know." Her fake laugh echoed across the cafe. But I saw it, the tiny tremor in her fingers. It was working. That night, I sat on my bed scrolling through old photos. Me, Alina, and Ryan. Smiling faces, laughter frozen in time. But now, every memory looked different. Every smile had secrets hiding behind it. I realized something painful. Betrayal doesn't start with lies. It starts with silence. With the moments when someone stops choosing you, and you don't notice. Still, I wasn't ready to confront them yet. I wanted proof, not just for myself, but to end every doubt forever. So I started watching patterns. Ryan's social media habits. Alina's busy days. The way they both went offline at the same time, or posted from suspiciously similar places. Every detail became a piece of a puzzle I hadn't asked for. Then one evening I got it. The proof I needed. It was Alina's birthday week. She was planning a girls' night and insisted I join. "Just us like the old times," she said, excitement dripping from her voice. I agreed, pretending to be thrilled. But something felt off. The night of the party, I reached her apartment early. She wasn't there yet. The door was slightly open, so I stepped inside. It wasn't unusual. I'd been there 100 times before. Everything looked too perfect. Candles ready. Music cued. 2 wine glasses on the table. I frowned. Maybe she was expecting someone to help set up. Then I saw it. A small, square gift box on the counter with a note. Curiosity pulled me closer. The note said, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Always yours. R. My hands went cold. I opened the box slowly. Inside was a silver bracelet with her initials engraved. Not mine. Hers. I froze in the middle of her living room, realizing that this wasn't a girls' night. It was their night. And she had invited me just to keep her lie alive. I left quietly before she arrived, my heartbeat echoing in my ears. I sat in my car for what felt like hours, gripping the steering wheel. Every part of me wanted to scream, to confront, to demand answers. But I didn't. Because I understood something in that moment. People like Alina and Ryan don't deserve your anger. They deserve your absence. And silence is louder than any revenge. The next day I acted normal. I met her at work, smiled when she smiled, laughed at her jokes. But inside I was done. Done pretending. Done waiting. Done breaking. I started focusing on myself. The projects I'd paused, the dreams I'd forgotten. And for the first time in months I felt lighter. But I also started leaving small hints. Little things that would make her wonder how much I knew. I'd drop a phrase like, secrets always find their way out. Or, funny how things change when people stop pretending. Every time she'd freeze just a bit more. Her confidence started to crack. She began asking questions. Are you okay? You're acting weird. And I'd smile, saying softly, I'm better than ever. Then one afternoon, fate decided to finish the story for me. We had a company event. A casual lunch with all teams. I was sitting across the room when Ryan walked in. With Alina right behind him. Everyone greeted them warmly, unaware of the storm between us. But then something happened. Ryan stood on the stage to give a short thank you speech for the project's success. Alina, proud as ever, recorded him on her phone. He smiled at the audience, and then his eyes met mine. For a moment he froze. Because I wasn't smiling. I was just watching. Knowing. He stumbled mid-sentence, trying to regain his composure. The whole room noticed. And when he looked at Alina, she was still smiling, unaware that his entire expression had changed. That was the first time I saw guilt on his face. Not regret. Guilt. After the event, Alina came rushing to me. What did you say to him? He's acting weird. I tilted my head slightly. Maybe he finally saw the truth. She blinked. What truth? I smiled, leaned closer, and whispered. The one that was sitting beside him all along. Her face went pale. She opened her mouth to say something, but I just walked away. No fight. No confrontation. Just silence. Because I knew now, the more calm you are, the more their own conscience destroys them. That night, Ryan texted me after weeks of silence. Mira, can we talk? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. You already did. I just wasn't listening before. And I never replied again. I thought silence would end everything. I thought walking away would be enough. But I was wrong. People like Alina don't lose quietly. They fight, not for love but for control. After the office event, her attitude changed overnight. Gone was the cheerful best friend. What replaced her was something colder. Calculated. Dangerous. At first, she acted like nothing was wrong. Still sending memes, still tagging me in old photos with captions like, my ride or die. But the smile behind those posts wasn't friendship anymore. It was war disguised as nostalgia. A week later, rumors started spreading in the office. Someone whispered that I'd been jealous of Alina's promotion. Another said I'd been creating drama with Ryan. A third one even suggested I'd been trying to ruin their relationship. First I ignored it. But when I overheard my own manager say, I hope Myra's okay, she's been so emotional lately, I realized Alina was poisoning my name one drop at a time. It wasn't enough that she took Ryan. Now she wanted my peace too. But I didn't react. Because reacting would mean she'd won. Instead I smiled more. Worked harder. Stayed polite. Because the calmest person in the room always scares the guilty one. Still, inside me something burned. Not anger anymore, but the ache of being misunderstood. You can survive heartbreak, but being painted as the villain in your own story. That breaks you differently. One evening, as I was leaving the office, I found Alina waiting near my car. She smiled sweetly. "Hey, stranger. Can we talk?" I wanted to say no. But something in her tone told me this wasn't about friendship anymore. So I nodded. We sat on a nearby bench under the parking lights. The city buzzed around us, but between us, silence. Then she said softly, "Why are you doing this to me?" I blinked. "Doing what?" She sighed dramatically. "Ryan barely talks to me now. He says he feels guilty. He keeps mentioning you. You're trying to make him feel bad, aren't you?" I almost laughed. "I don't have to make him feel guilty, Alina. That's his own conscience talking." Her face hardened. "You think you're innocent. You think you didn't play with his feelings. You left him confused. Of course he came to me." My chest tightened. "I left him." He lied, Alina. To both of us, maybe. But I didn't betray anyone. She stood up, her voice trembling now. "You always think you're the victim. You always need to be the good one. But not this time. I'm not letting you ruin me." And before I could respond, she turned and walked away. Heels clicking sharply against the pavement, echoing like anger on concrete. That was the last time I saw the friend I once loved like a sister. After that night, only her mask remained. The next week my manager called me in. "Mira," he said, avoiding eye contact, "there have been complaints about your behavior. Some colleagues feel uncomfortable with how you've been acting toward Ryan and Alina." I felt my stomach drop. "What behavior?" He cleared his throat. "They said you've been spreading rumors, making accusations, even sending messages late at night." I stared at him, speechless. I hadn't done any of that. But I didn't need to guess who was behind it. I left the office that day shaking. Not with fear but disbelief. How far could someone fall just to protect a lie? I sat in my car for an hour before driving home. My phone buzzed with messages from colleagues. Subtle pity, fake concern. And then one text from Ryan. "Mira, I didn't know she'd go this far. Please don't hate me. I'll fix this." I didn't reply. Because if he really meant that, he wouldn't have let it get this far in the first place. Days turned into weeks. My silence became my only weapon. But sometimes silence hurts the wrong person. One night I was scrolling through my feed when I saw something that made me freeze. Alina had posted a picture. It was a photo of me and her from years ago, captioned, "Some people pretend to be your friend just to destroy your happiness. Lesson learned, broken heart." The comment section was chaos. Some defended me. Most didn't. And the worst part, Ryan had liked it. That like was louder than a confession. I didn't cry. Not this time. I just stared at the screen until everything went numb. Because betrayal doesn't hurt anymore after you've been bled dry by it. Just makes you tired. But the universe has a strange sense of timing. The truth never stays buried for long. A few days later, a colleague, Sarah, stopped me in the hallway. She hesitated, then whispered, "Mira, I think you should see this." She showed me her phone. It was a screenshot, messages between Alina and another coworker, bragging about how she'd handled me and how guilty Ryan still looked. There was proof. In her own words. I felt something shift inside me. Not rage, not joy, just closure. Because I finally realized. I didn't need to expose her. The truth already had. Still, part of me wanted to see how far she'd go. So I waited. A few days later, I got a message from Alina herself. "Can we please meet? I want to explain everything." I almost ignored it. But something told me this was the final act. We met at the same cafe where our friendship had begun years ago. Only this time the warmth was gone. She looked exhausted. Dark circles, forced smile, shaky hands. I said nothing. Just watched her struggle with her guilt. Finally she whispered, "I messed up." I stayed silent. She continued, tears welling up. "I didn't mean to hurt you. Just happened. Ryan said you were distant and I fell for it. Thought he loved me. But now he's gone too. He won't even talk to me anymore. I took a slow breath. You wanted everything, Alina. Him, me, your reputation. And now you have nothing. That's not an accident. That's consequence. She started crying softly. I just wanted to be you, Mira. Everyone loved you. You were perfect. I just wanted to feel like that once. That broke me a little. Not out of pity but realization. Sometimes betrayal isn't born from hate. It's born from envy. I stood up, left some cash on the table and said quietly, being loved doesn't make you perfect, Alina. Just means someone saw the good in you. But you chose to kill yours. And I walked away again. This time not with pain but peace. I thought it was finally over. But it wasn't. Because later that night I got another message. One that changed everything again. This time it wasn't from Alina. It was from Ryan. Mira, I need to tell you the truth about everything. Please, it's not what you think. And attached was a photo of a letter written by Alina. The last line read, if you're reading this, it's too late. Tell Mira I'm sorry. When I saw that photo, my world stopped. It was Alina's handwriting. Unmistakable. Every letter perfectly curved, like the way she used to sign her birthday cards. If you're reading this, it's too late. Tell Mira I'm sorry. My hands shook as I scrolled up. Ryan's message said only 3 words after it. She's gone, Mira. The word echoed in my mind until it didn't sound like a word anymore. Just a hollow sound like wind through an empty house. I called him instantly, my voice breaking. What do you mean she's gone? He was crying. I'd never heard him like that before. She left a note on my doorstep. She took something. The ambulance came too late. I dropped my phone. It clattered on the floor as I sank to my knees. Alina was gone. The same girl who once laughed with me under rain, who dreamed of traveling the world, who once swore she'd never hurt me, was just gone. And suddenly, all the anger I'd buried inside me turned into something else. Not forgiveness. Not love. Just grief. Because no matter what she'd done, she was still my best friend once. The next few days felt like walking through a fog. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. People talked in whispers around me. About her, about me, about what really happened. At her funeral, I stood far from the crowd. Ryan was there too. Pale, broken, hollow-eyed. He tried to come closer, but I turned away. I didn't hate him anymore. But I couldn't look at him either. Because he was a living reminder of everything we'd lost. When the ceremony ended, someone handed me a small sealed envelope. No name. Just a simple line on the front. For Mira, you'll understand someday. The handwriting again, Alina's. My heart pounded as I opened it. Inside was a folded letter, written in her familiar cursive. Mira, I know you'll hate me forever. Maybe you should. I won't blame you. I wish I could tell you everything in person, but I've lost the right to face you. I didn't plan to fall for Ryan. I swear I didn't. Started with loneliness. You were busy, he was kind, and I mistook comfort for love. Thought he needed me. But when I realized what I had done, it was already too late. He tried to end things with me weeks ago. He told me he loved you, that it was a mistake. I was angry. I wanted to make you both pay. That's why I lied. That's why I spread rumors. Because hurting you felt easier than facing my own shame. But it didn't work. The more I tried to destroy you, the more it destroyed me. I saw you that day at the cafe. Calm, quiet, stronger than ever, and I realized I'd lost everything. I wanted to apologize. I wanted to tell you the truth. But the truth hurts more when it's too late. You didn't deserve this. You didn't deserve any of it. I hope someday you'll remember me. Not for what I did, but for who I used to be. Goodbye, my best friend. Alina. By the time I finished reading, the paper was wet with tears. I didn't know how long I sat there. Maybe minutes. Maybe hours. I kept rereading her words, trying to find anger again. But all I felt was emptiness. Because even though she had betrayed me, part of me had betrayed her too. I'd let silence grow between us. I'd let my pain turn into walls. And while I thought I was protecting myself, maybe she was drowning in guilt I never saw. People think betrayal ends when you walk away. But sometimes it echoes long after, in guilt, in grief, in the unanswered questions that never fade. A week later, Ryan came to see me. I didn't want to open the door, but something told me I needed closure. For all of us. He looked broken. His eyes red, his hands trembling. He said quietly, "I know you don't want to see me, but I need you to know what really happened." I said nothing. He continued, "That night she died, she came to me crying. She said she couldn't live with what she'd done. I tried to calm her down, but she left before I could stop her." His voice cracked. "I should have done more. I should have called you. But I was a coward. I was afraid you'd never forgive me." I looked at him, my voice steady but cold. "You're right. I never will. But I also don't hate you anymore. Because hate keeps people tied to pain. And I'm done being tied to you." He nodded slowly, tears falling. Then he whispered, "She loved you, Mira. Even at the end." And he left. That night, I sat by my window watching the rain fall. The same kind of rain that used to make Alina laugh like a child. For the first time I didn't cry. I just whispered to the sky, "I forgive you." Not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Months passed. Life slowly rebuilt itself around me. Changed jobs. Started painting again. Began traveling, something I'd always dreamed of doing. But some nights when I look at old photos, I still see her smile, the one before all the chaos. And I realize that life isn't about keeping people forever. It's about learning when to let them go without losing yourself. One evening, I was walking through a small art fair when I saw something that made me stop. A painting. 2 girls laughing under an umbrella, rain splashing around them. It looked exactly like us. Under it, a small card read, "Forgive. But never forget who you were before the pain." Smiled. Maybe it was coincidence. Or maybe the universe was reminding me that even broken stories can end beautifully. I bought that painting. It hangs in my apartment now. A reminder that love and betrayal are 2 sides of the same coin, and both teach you how to see yourself clearly. If you've ever been betrayed, you know it's not just losing someone else. It's losing the version of yourself who trusted blindly. But if you survive it, you come back stronger, softer, and wiser. I did. Because sometimes the people who break you are the ones who unknowingly teach you how to rebuild. And that's exactly what Alina did. Epilogue. It's been a year now. I visit her grave once a month. I bring 2 coffees, one black, one caramel. I sit there and talk about everything. My new job, my travels, my peace. And sometimes when the wind blows softly, I swear I hear her laughter again. Maybe she's finally free. And maybe, so am I.